welcome to the Hour of Power world. Today I'm alone. My two co-hosts, Mr. Glenn Greenwich from the Southern Bed, is off today, and so is Stephanie James. So you got Lady Pauline with Our World, Our Power here on the Caribbean Buzz TV and radio. And if you want to call in, please call in at 607-301-0962. I have three guests with me today, and they're all own their own businesses. And one is Tiffany Goode and Maya and Dianna Ross.
Rose.
It's Rose. Even if I thought she was Dianna Ross' daughter.
I have gotten that all my life.
So let's start with you, Dianna. What is it that you do? What type of business do you have? I see it's called Jars Delight.
Jars of Delight.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about Jars of Delight.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Dianna Rose. I am the founder of Jars of Delight. So it's a zero-waste catering and meal prep service here in Southeast Jamaica, Queens. And we cater for multiple different events, and we also have meal prep customers every week.
Okay, do you deliver to people's homes?
Yep. So every Sunday we do a fresh delivery every Sunday morning.
Oh, okay. That's very good.
Yep.
And over here, Tiffany Goode. Tell me a little bit about your business.
Hello, everyone. I have a startup called Kids Break Ground. Kids Break Ground is a web app that will help young children learn about different occupations based on their likes and interests.
That's cool.
That's wonderful. And Maya, I heard that you are part of this entrepreneur business. Tell me how you feel about what it is you and your mother are doing.
Well, I feel great about the business, and I'm happy that I'm inspiration for young kids just like me. And I'm also happy that I am learning business at an early age from my grandmother and my mother.
Oh, that's
so sweet.
Wonderful. Now, Tiffany, tell me, how did you get inspired to do this Kids Break Ground business? Because I know you have your hands full and you multitask. So how did this come about?
Well, we developed Kids Break Ground because me and my co-founder wanted to start our own business. And we sat down with my daughter one day. We were watching Shark Tank, and we were trying to figure out what we can do to get on the show. We brainstormed something that we wish was around when we were younger. So we just started jotting down ideas, and we came up with the idea of bringing a platform to existence that would help the next generation be more strategic with their decisions, with their career options.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love the idea. And Dianne, tell me, how did you get started and who inspired you?
So Jars of Delight really happened by, I always tell people it really was a gift that God just really placed in my hand. So I never went to culinary school, so I don't have a formal culinary background apart from my stepdad, who's a professional chef. So I was meal prepping for a friend, and just being in this digital age that we're in, we posted it online. So I meal prep in mason jars. And everyone just started texting us and asking, where can we buy it? So at that time, I was working full-time at the hospital in the pediatric ER. And I'm like, really? So it wasn't something that I intended to start. But I said, okay. So a month later, I had about 7 meal prep customers weekly. And then within 3 months, I landed my first catering contract in Manhattan for 350 people. So at that point, we're like, okay, this may be something. So it's really a blessing. I tell people all the time, I wake up living my best life because apart from Jars of Delight, which is a zero-waste catering company, because we use sustainable materials from everything, and we compost everything that we use. Our serviceware are compostable and biodegradable. So I did graduate with my bachelor's in community health in 2013 from Hofstra. So being able to incorporate my business with my passion. So I'm saying my passion and my profit, they coincide and they work together. It's a blessing. So I can't really say that I was inspired to start this business. It was really a gift God gave me, and I just felt like I was obedient with it. And now I'm just really enjoying the fruit of that labor.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's wonderful. Now, both of you ladies are having to balance your home life and your scheduling. Tell me, has that been difficult?
It's always difficult balancing a business and family and everything else you want to do, self-care, taking care of yourself. So for me, I can only accredit that to my village, my family. They are amazing. Shout out to my mom and sister for watching the boys right now. They're amazing, right? So for me, it's a little different than most other people who may not have that, but I have an amazing village that is behind me and encouraging me and, staying with my kids or my boys when I have events or I have to cater or I have to go speak at engagement. So for me, it's really my village, and I don't take any credit doing it on my own.
Tiffany Goode, tell me, how do you balance your busy schedule? Because I know you have another job and you are in college. You have your daughter that's sitting next to you right now that's 9 years old.
Mini mogul.
And she takes up a lot of your time. How do you balance your schedule?
Well, I'm very lucky to have, similar to you, I have a great family that helps me with taking care of my daughter. But I'm also really lucky to have a job that's very flexible. And when I was hired and when I did get my promotions, they did understand how strict I am with a life-work balance. I take it extremely seriously. On Mondays, I have to be at my daughter's school. I have to volunteer at her school. Certain days I have to do my networking. I have to go out, give out my business cards. So I think it's, you have to be very dedicated and disciplined. And with those two things, I feel like if you have any goal, you can accomplish it. You just have to keep your eye on the prize.
Okay. Now, Maya, I would like to ask you something. You have a mother that's involved with business. You have a grandmother that's involved in business. And you also have an uncle that is very much involved in business and in show business. Tell me, how do you feel about that dynamic? Do you feel pressured, or how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel normally just really proud that they're business, and I've hoped that I could follow in their footsteps and become in business as well.
All right, that's awesome. Do the kids in your school, are they aware of what it is that you're doing?
Yes, most of them are.
Okay. Now tell me, where do you see yourself in business, Dianna, in 5 years?
Wow, 5 years.
What would you like to see happen?
So in 5 years, I'm not superstitious at all, but I'm very careful in speaking about goals. So I rather tell people my accomplishments. So, but in 5 years, definitely growing Jars of Delight to a household name brand, right? So that's one of the major goals in terms of the business. Also, really developing my sustainability platform, Her Sustainable Life. So, and meshing the two, because I felt like for me that's important. I didn't want to have two separate businesses and platforms competing for attention apart from my children and myself and ministry and everything else that I have going on. So definitely growing the business to a household name, and also being able to find us in stores, going to your Whole Foods and picking up a jar, but also being on a national stage in terms of sustainability and zero waste, because that's something that I'm completely passionate about.
Has it been very difficult for you? There's a lot of resources out here for women today. And I would like to know, have you found it easy with all the different platforms there is as opposed to, I know years ago it was very difficult for women to start their own business?
Well, to be honest, right now, minority women, we're the leading in business startups right now. So we are really leading that front in terms of entrepreneurism and just startups in general. So there are a plethora of resources for us. So I feel like even though there are so many resources, it can be overwhelming. So there's just so many different organizations and different platforms that really say, oh, join us. And before you know it, you're spending $1,000 in subscriptions for different organizations and platforms. But I think right now the best thing for any woman or anyone going into business is really to educate yourself. So whether that's going back to school or YouTube, honestly, is a great resource, in Google. There's so much different resources out there, and also in your own neighborhood. So going online and looking at what events are happening. Just Thursday night, we went to the QEDC, hosted an amazing event at the Harvest Room with Progress Playbook. And it was, so you want to fund your business. And you and I were there together. Yes. Oh, I'm like, wait a minute, this feels like deja vu. I'm like, why? So,
like you look familiar.
Yes. So it's really just immersing yourself and, like you said, being intentional and strategic and putting yourself out there and being dedicated to whatever field of business that you're intending on going in. But no, just in short, to answer your question, no, I feel like it's very... It's much easier now to start a business than it was maybe even 5-10 years ago.
Now, Tiffany, how do you feel about the fact that are you finding it difficult? Is it easy? Is it a lot of questions that you haven't had answers to yet? Have people been cooperating to help you? Can you tell me?
Well, I feel that it's not difficult. And I feel that way because I am a third generation entrepreneur on the female side, because my grandmother was our neighborhood babysitter. So in Lafayette City, she was known for babysitting everyone's kids, and she was able to pay all her bills that way. My mother's an entrepreneur, and so am I. So I never thought it would be difficult. I've never experienced it as being hard. And I'm just very lucky to be in Queens because there's so many resources.
Yes.
And I have a lot of great mentors. So I feel like it's a blessing being in Queens and being, like you said, a minority woman. We have a lot of things working in our favor.
Yep.
Okay, so both of you were at the same function. I believe it was last week, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, Tuesday. I must have said Thursday.
What did you all get out of it? And what was the organization that was involved in people bringing people together for different businesses?
Okay, so the organization is Progress Playbook, and it was really an amazing event. So I've been to, at this point, I want to say hundreds of events, but for some reason, the chemistry in the room between the panel as well as the guest that was there was amazing. And I felt like we all had a chance to network. It wasn't too large where it felt overwhelming, but it was intimate enough for everybody to exchange information. So that's how we ended up speaking. And one of the biggest things, as I was telling Dawn earlier, was just listening and getting a refresher on your personal life, matching up to your business life. So if you intend to start a business, as DK was talking about, make sure your personal life is in order, or, as close to in order as possible. So whether that be your personal finances or your personal time and management. So those things are really important before you set out to start any business. So that was one of the big gems that I felt like I took away from that.
Oh, that's good, Diane. Now, tell me, Miss Goode, what did you get out of it? I know you made contact and you have an appointment.
I have a few appointments.
How you doing?
Awesome.
From that business meeting that happened Tuesday?
Well, I was referred to that event by my really good friend / mentor, Michelle Stoddard, who's the director of public relations at Resort World Casino. So she knows any and everybody in Queens. Everybody knows her. She's actually really good friends with Dawn, how you met her.
Right.
My mentor.
You met her? You met her too?
Oh, Dawn is my mentor.
Oh, yes, yes. Michelle is mine, and she's the one who actually referred me. But she referred me to the event as a Greater Jamaica Development event.
Right.
And it was pretty much an opportunity to meet with people who are knowledgeable in grants and getting loans and how you can fund your startup. I've been bootstrapping it for the last couple of years, and that's been working in my favor. But I did meet a really nice gentleman who may be able to help me with taking my app to the next level. So with that, I'm very grateful. But it's just really good to mix and mingle with people in your community and find out what they're doing and figuring out how you can support them.
Yeah,
because a lot of the time you never realize what they need, and you may have something and it could just take them so much farther. So I feel like it's really important for everybody in the area of Queens to help one another whenever they can.
Okay. Now, both of you do realize what's going on here in Southeast Queens with all the new developments and stuff. Where do you feel your business is going to fit in there?
So you're speaking about the revitalization of downtown Jamaica, Queens. Yeah, so it's a huge undertaking, and that was through basically a competition that Southeast Downtown Jamaica won. So I feel like at any time, there's no better time or no greater time than to really get involved and to believe in either your product or your business than it is right now, and tap into all of the financing and the resources that they are giving for us. That's why it was very important for me to get my MWBE certification for Jars of Delight, because I knew that at that point I would be able to tap into contracts with the city and the state. So.
And exactly what is that status?
Sure. So MWBE, Minority Woman-Owned Business Enterprise. So it's a certification that you get with the city and or state, and also you can have Port Authority certification, and that allows you to bid for contracts with the city, state, and the Port Authority for jobs. And that's really important, especially for me as a caterer with all these events going on. It's great to be able to set myself apart from other caterers that don't have their MWBE certification. So it's really just a stepping stone to really getting out there and launching your business and just getting in front of a different audience than you would have had access to before. So it's really about access.
Okay, and how does a person get that certification?
Sure. So there's a few ways. So like I said, there's city and or state and Port Authority certifications, but I personally went through the QEDC, so that's the Queens Economic Development Corporation. So Mike was at the event, so I know him pretty well because I've been at that office a few times, as well as a few other people that I've worked with there. Shout out to Ricardi from QEDC as well. And it was really my mentor, Ernest Flowers, who said, you need to get this certification. So he led me to QEDC, and from there, they walked me through the entire process. So it's an online portal, and you just put in all your business information, and that goes back to being very organized and, having all your paperwork, because it is a tedious process if you are not that type of person. So for me, I'm a creative mind. So things like that, it's just really hard for me to just say, okay, Dianna, you have to do this. But you just go online. It's very straightforward. They ask you for certain information. So your tax documents, your business certifications, and you just input all that information as you get it. And then once you're done, you submit it, and then you wait. And then they'll let you know if you're certified. Okay. And as soon as you get certified, you're able to go and bid for contracts, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
Now, that's wonderful. Do you feel that a lot of women that is entering into the field of business know all this information? Have all these information at their hand?
No, and it's unfortunate because the information is out there. So it also depends on your reason for going into business, right? Because right now it's real trendy to have your own business, but it's a lot of work. It is if you thought working 40 hours was a lot, wait till you start working 80 and 90 and 100 hours, because you are providing your bread and butter for your family. So I don't know if your intent is to go into business because you really have a passion and you're really determined, then you're going to find that information. You're not just going to wait for information to come to you. And that's what I tell a lot of people. You have to be tenacious. You have to want it. So it's not enough to just say, okay, I went to an event and expect all of this information. You have to do follow-ups. You have to go online. You have to research. You have to put yourself out there. So unfortunately, no, not everyone knows this information. But fortunately, we do live in a technological area where you can go in and say, okay, type in, what do I need to start my business? And you can pull up a whole list of things for New York City, specifically.
Now, Tiffany, have you found that type of information helpful to you? Have you been on, the internet and pulling up this, that, and the other story as to how you can get certified?
Yes, of course. I've been using the internet for as long as it's been around. Right.
I think that was the advent of us, right?
But I agree with you. I do work with the Queens Economic Development Center as well. And they've been very helpful.
Amazing.
Very helpful. So, you just have to explore your resources and you have to ask around. That's important too, because word of mouth can take you really, really far. So, like you said, you have to put yourself out there and you can't be timid. You have to be open to approaching people. You have to seem approachable at the same time. You have to have your facts in order. You have to know what you've accomplished and what is your next few steps. So I feel like having a plan and being on top of where you are and where you want to go is very important when you are a business owner.
Now, Tiffany, I know you have a full-time job. Is it all right to mention?
No. I'd rather not.
Okay. Well, you have a full-time job, and I know you're in college, and you have a daughter.
Yes.
How does all this play into becoming a successful businesswoman?
I feel like it all goes hand in hand for me because it's very important to continue in your education and always learn something new or learn something that you've never were knowledge of before. And I feel like it's a really good example I'm selling for my daughter because I want her to know you're never too old to go back to school. You're never too old to learn something new. And then with my day job, I'm very fortunate with that as well because with the people I meet there, they're so giving towards me. If I have any questions, they always let me come into their office. If it's about finance, I go to the finance department. If it's about public relations, I go to the PR department. And fortunately, even the human resources department, they know about my startup. They know what I'm working on. They come, they check on me. They ask how they can help. Yeah, and I was I displayed my web app at Tech Day, New York City last year. And everybody at my job was so happy for me. They had like a little party for me afterwards.
That's awesome.
So I feel like having a good support system is very important. And I feel like my job and going to school and being an entrepreneur just overlap in the most, the most blissful way.
Now, Maya, you was at Tech Day.
That is so cool.
Tell me, how did you feel about it and what did you get out of it?
Well, I felt that it was very, eventful. There was a lot of other, prototypes and other businesses there that I got to walk around and see. But most of all, I got to meet a lot of other people that I just stopped and gave them a lot of business stuff, like we had our own pens and phone back, whatever. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like this.
It's a phone wallet.
Oh. Yeah, phone wallet. That's what I meant. And we had cards too that we just gave out to investors and stuff. But most of all, what I got out of it is the fun of just being around people and looking at all the businesses that a lot of people made, and it was just very interesting to see what people can come up with.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Now, Tiffany, exactly what does Kids Breakdown do? Can you give us a breakdown as to what it is and what it's all about?
Okay, so right now we have our MVP version, and we are looking for an extremely talented person with skills in Unity. And we're looking to develop the full version to get it into schools for the 2020 year, which is on the horizon.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes, very soon. But what that app pretty much does is it creates a child's avatar, and it allows them to explore all types of occupational fields. And they are presented with occupational fields based on their likes and interests. So we want to show kids that there's more than to just being a doctor, a police officer, and a lawyer. So we want to show them all types of different engineering careers. We want to show them about computer science. We want to teach them about how to build your own home from scratch. So we're just trying to expand our upcoming generation's minds to be more knowledgeable of all the options they really have.
Okay. And have you met with any schools lately? And what was the outcome of that?
So we did have a few focus groups, one at my daughter's school and a few at after-school programs here in Queens. And we've been getting such great feedback. A lot of the parents and the academic professionals are really looking forward to incorporating it in their child's lives. But in the near future, we are going to have it as a subscription model in public, private, and charter schools.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's super cool.
I would like to say that this is Lady Pauline, and you're listening to Caribbean Buzz Radio and TV. And please don't forget that you can hear us on Spotify. Good, let's see, iTunes, YouTube, and TuneIn and Google Play. I hope I said that all right. But again, please listen to us every Saturday from 5 to 6 on Caribbean Buzz Radio and TV. Now let's get back to you, Dianna.
My mom.
I love your name. I'm sorry I said Dianna.
It's okay.
I was like, oh my
I was
goodness.
pretty close. I'm literally one letter off. I've gotten it my entire life, so please don't. Even on my graduation day, they called me Dianna Ross, so it's fine.
Dianna, what would you like the public to know about your business that you haven't said so far?
Sure. So you can definitely reach us easily by going to www.jarsofdelight.com or by sending me an email or sending our team an email to info@jarsofdelight.com. And also for any requested speaking engagements that you may like to have me be a part of in terms of sustainability and community health, I can be emailed at hersustainablelife@gmail.com. And so we cater for all types of organizations and businesses and events. And we are an innovative, like I said, zero waste catering company. So you can be excited and delighted about not just the food, because it is delicious, but also about our recycling and sustainable initiatives that we got going on.
Now, what does zero waste exactly mean?
Sure, I know. So it's such a trendy term, right? Zero waste. But it's really just being passionate about how we produce our products. So everything from our food scraps, we donate to different organizations for compost. So really making a sustainable system, so putting it back into the environment. And also our serviceware, so everything is sold in mason jars, glass mason jars. So with our meal prep customers, when you recycle your jars with us at the end of the week, you get a 5% discount on your upcoming order, because, you know, that's the incentive of recycling. And also our serviceware. So our serviceware is made from bamboo. So our forks, knives, spoons, our napkins, they're all compostable. So everything can be thrown out or thrown out with our compost as well.
And what type of food do you serve?
So Jars of Delight is a Caribbean fusion menu. So it's really a healthy take on Caribbean fusion, because my background, my parents are from Jamaica. And so growing up, that was definitely the cuisine that I was most exposed to. So also knowing that there's a lot of different seasonings and different things that go into culinary, Caribbean cuisine that may not be so healthy for us. And so it all, like I said, plays a big part of why I went to school, community health, and realizing the disparity between our neighborhoods and other neighborhoods and what we have access to. So the lack of access to healthy food was a problem and is a problem. And you see the correlation between lack of access with food with chronic and communicable diseases. So high blood pressure, diabetes, COPD. So it's really a problem, and really one of the biggest ways that we can fix that is through access to healthy food. So starting a company would be the only thing that I had in mind. So that is the basis of Jars of Delight, providing access to delicious, healthy food.
Now, what is placed in, what's the ingredients, I should say?
Sure,
that's in the food that makes it healthy.
Right,
as
so
opposed to not healthy.
So everything is marinated. We don't use any like seasoned salts or anything like that. So it's fresh, organic marinade. So garlic, thyme, onions, clove, and so all of the natural, untouched, beautiful flavors that we find in our natural environment. That's what we use to.
It's my job.
It's coming. It's coming. It's Resurrection Weekend, so there's a lot going on. But definitely you'll get your jar. Don't worry. Yeah, you'll get your jar.
That sounds wonderful.
You will get your jar.
Mm-hmm. And how can people reach you, Tiffany, for Kids Break Ground and get more information?
Yes, I'm excited, even for my son.
Thank you.
On that.
Well, thank you. Our target market is for children ages 7 to 12, and the way you can contact me is at build@kidsbreakground.com. You can also reach me at www.kidsbreakground.com. We also have an Instagram page that you can start following us on. You can hit us up there. And so if you need to contact me, once again, you can reach me at www.kidsbreakground.com, or you can email me at build@kidsbreakground.com.
I love the name. It's so dope.
And Maya, how can people reach you? Is there a way? I know you were like the face of Kids Break Ground.
Which is amazing.
You can contact
That's great marketing, Mom.
Yes. You can contact Maya through her mother. www.kidsbreakground.com.
Okay, this is Lady Pauline, Our World Hour of Power, and thank you for watching and listening to us. Again, you can reach us through, or hear us, I should say, from Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, and TuneIn. Remember, this is the Hour of Power, where your world receives as much information as possible about your community as to what is going on. And I call it Our World. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.